Good pause YouTube, SixftHax here. Have for y'all today the very last team builder of GBA Season 9, guys. We have made it all the way to the finals, which is insane. If you guys want to see our run through this season, I will leave a link to a playlist down in the description. Now, the actual battle itself should be going up on Monday. I had busy Saturday when we and Randy were supposed to play, so we pushed it back to Sunday. So we're definitely playing Sunday. This will be going up Sunday, and then on Mondays when you guys will get the battle. So yeah, when this goes live, just assume that we've already done our game and we'll be straight. So this season has been pretty crazy, honestly. A part of me didn't think we would actually make it to the finals here, but hey, here we are. And ironically enough, we're facing Mr. Randy, HLD Productions, coach of the Houston Team Rockets, I believe is his new team name. And for those of you who may not know, about, I want to say like 2 years ago at this point, like a year and a half ago at least, Randy and I were both in GBA D League Season 3, and we made it to the finals. It was me against him in the finals, and ironically enough, Randy beat Jolt in D League semifinals to make it to finals to face me, and then this time in Season 9 finals, Randy beat Jolt again in semifinals to make it to finals to face me. So yeah, this is gonna be Randy's redemption arc. If I'm not mistaken, I think Randy actually ended the season #1 overall, I think, or he was at least like 2, 3 probably. Like, he had an amazing run this season. Not gonna lie, I didn't expect to face him here in the finals, and the main reason I say that is because my matchup against Randy is actually really annoying. I'm not gonna lie, my matchup against Randy is really annoying. Mainly for the fact that his team is so disgustingly fat. Like, yeah, I have Marshadow, I have Darkrai, I have Garchomp, and I guess Thundurus, but 2 of those need setup, and the other 2, he has Mons that I can't 2-hit KO in return that I believe is going to be forced to bring. So my game plan going into this is to hopefully hazard stack. It's not the same game plan like against Lars where I could hazard stack, wear down Mons, and then win with priority. This time around, I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that, but it's still definitely going to come down to me trying to get up my hazards, hopefully. And I realistically do not think he's going to bring Mega Latios to this game, which means he will be forced to have defog on Velveteen, or he's just not going to have defog in general, because he himself could also try to hazard stack me, because I could definitely see Roserade coming to this game. Basically, the Mons I really don't expect to come are Metagross, Mega Latios, and then Zydog and Jolteon could maybe come, but they're so frail and they don't really do enough damage to whatever walls we want to bring that I don't expect them to come. Mega Latios and Metagross get absolutely destroyed by so much of our team. Thundurus, Garchomp, even like Scarf can beat Mega Latios potentially. Marshadow, Darkrai, Nidoking can smack both of them. Thundurus can beat both of them as well. Mega Latios can't really break through Cresselia, Snorlax, Ferrothorn, and Comfey all together, so I don't expect those 4 Mons to come, which means the top 6 Mons, and then either, well, I guess the first 5 Mons, and then either Roserade or Hippowdon. Although I guess if I had to put money on Mons, I definitely expect this match Yveltal, Clefable, and Infernape. All 3 of those I definitely think are going to be coming to this game, just because they have really good matchups regardless of what they want to bring. Porygon 2 is pretty much his only answer for Darkrai, unless he runs like a super fat Spadef Roserade or Suicune potentially. But Suicune in itself is just annoying because it's Suicune, and we all know how much of an issue something like Vincune can be. I don't expect Crocune because we do have Bad Dreams as an ability for Darkrai. Porygon 2 could just be defensive in general. Roserade, I definitely think, is either going to be offensive spikes or fat spikes. Hippowdon, if it were to be brought, has to be max defense and max HP. That is his only answer for a non-choice banded Marshadow, which banded Marshadow's matchup is not really that good. So I am rocking Life Orb, little spoilers alert, which means Hippowdon can definitely take 2 hits from it if it is physically defensive. Infernape, I'm absolutely terrified offensively wise, because it could be either Choice Scarf or Z-Move. If it's set up Z-Move, then I mean, I guess I have to give it the free turn to set up. So hopefully that won't happen. But if it does set up for free, then that does become a bit of an issue. Unaware Clefable was something that my front office was also potentially talking about on Clefable. Shouts out to my boys. Harris is awesome. Shuckle King 87, and then DJ Grafey, Crossface, and Diet Tight. I think they were all the ones that helped me build for this finals matchup here, which we have to play in a few minutes, and I'm still really nervous. So, and Yveltal, I have no idea what it could run this match. I guess it could potentially be Scarfed. Life Orb Specs is actually the ones that I'm fearing the most. Specs, Yveltal could be a giant terror to deal with, so I need to be very careful with that. And even though I don't expect his last 4 Mons, we still have measurements to deal with them. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first team member here. I think I've rambled on enough. So of course we have good old Marshadow always starting off the squad. You already know that we're going to be Life Orb, and all of these moves absolutely smack everything and anything that Randy wants to bring. Shadow Sneak is going to be really good to deal with his Scarfers, potentially Jolteon as well, because it is super frail. The only reason I would see Jolteon coming to this match is because he wants the speed, but Jolteon can't break through Snorlax, Ferrothorn, Nidoking, even Comfey. Like, it does nothing to them, not even to Cresselia, so I don't expect Jolteon, which is why we are only running, also Zydog, I don't expect it, which is why we're only running enough speed to outspeed Mega Latios. Originally, I dropped it to only outrun Infernape, but it's only 2 more speed that we need to outspeed Mega Latios. I was like, hey, if we don't have a few defensive E's, it's fine. But with this HP investment, it just means that we can hopefully try and tank a hit or 2 a little bit easier. Mainly a Dark Pulse potentially from Yveltal if it's Scarfed, or a Sucker Punch from it if we are not dropped in our defenses. So Close Combat, Spectral Thief, of course, are our main 2 stabs. Outside of physically defensive Hippowdon, if my hazards are not up, then Hippowdon again is the only thing that takes 2 hits. But if I do get on my hazards, then this Marshadow basically comes in and I could just get a straight KO. My fear for Yveltal is that it's like super fat Fizz Death, but then I guess offensively wise it's not as terrifying. But yeah, I just need to find out what kind of set Yveltal is going to be, and I need to get on my hazards early on, because then that just allows Marshadow to come in. And being able to switch up moves freely is amazing, because if I'm not mistaken, a Spectral Thief into an Iron Head does actually 2 KO max defense, max HP Clefable, which is huge, because once Clefable was gone, that is one giant nuisance out of the way that I do not need to worry about anymore. So yeah, Marshadow just here to do Marshadow things and hopefully punch holes through Randy's team. His Uber is like one of, well, not one of the best answers, but it is a pretty solid answer to my Marshadow, so I need to be very careful with that Yveltal. Luckily, Yveltal doesn't learn Pursuit, which is really nice, because I would probably be way more terrified of it if it did learn Pursuit. So moving on to our next team member here, we have Darkrai, aka Velveteen, rocking a pretty cool Assault Vest set. Now, the idea behind this set is to try and lure in Clefable, because we should be able to 2 KO it with Sludge Bomb. If it's unaware, we always 2 KO it after hazards with Sludge Bomb, which is great, and then we are able to tank a Moonblast decently well. Knockoff is really only there so I can scout out for items. For example, if I know Yveltal is like Scarfed or Specs and I get rid of its item, then that makes it infinitely easier to switch into defensively wise. If it's a defensive Yveltal and I get rid of its leftovers, that is way easier to deal with as well. Dark Pulse, of course, is our stab. Ice Beam is able to hit the Roserade and the Yveltal. A Knockoff also is really good to get rid of leftovers on Suicune. I was really flip-flopping between whether or not I wanted Knockoff or I wanted Thunderbolt, and ultimately I feel like Knockoff is a little bit better, because if I get rid of Suicune's leftovers in general, then that just makes it so much easier to deal with, and it's nowhere near as big of a problem. Something like Vincune can be absolutely crippled because it's lost its leftovers. So that's kind of the idea behind the set. As long as Suicune doesn't just Calm Mind like to +2, I think we should be in a good spot to deal with it. Then again, I can also weaken it, steal its boost with Marshadow, but then I risk the burn, and I really don't want to try and put myself in that scenario. Because of Bad Dreams, I don't expect Crocoon to come to this match, which is really good. Definitely like Toxic or Calm Mind most likely is what I would bet my money on. So we are running enough speed to outspeed the Zydog because unlike Marshadow, we don't have a good priority to hit Zydog. So if anything, I want to guarantee at least outspeeding that. And then because we are Assault Vested, I don't really need to worry too much about the Jolteon. And then we're just rocking max special attack to do as much damage as possible. I'm hoping that maybe I can get rid of a few items with this set and then just try and weaken Clefable to the point where I bring in Marshadow and I put him in a scenario where I can just revenge kill him, and then that opens up the hole for the rest of our team. So yeah, Darkrai plays a pivotal role in this team. It helps me check Yveltal, helps me pressure and potentially lure in Clefable and get rid of items. So our next team member is going to be our Stealth Rocker and our mandatory ground type. I definitely wanted and I felt like I needed a ground type in this match, and honestly I feel like Garchomp is the better of my two ground types going into this game. While yes, I guess Nidoking could pressure the Clefable, I don't want it to be outsped by Yveltal. Yveltal is probably going to be running enough speed for something like Nidoking, so Garchomp is able to still outspeed that, and I don't know if I want to run more speed on this. I may just go max speed or just enough to outspeed Yveltal guaranteed. I'm not sure. I'll mention it in the actual battle itself, but there's no reason for him to run max speed on Yveltal in this game, so I don't expect max speed, in which case we are only running enough speed to outspeed a timid max speed Roserade, which if it is defensive, then Z-Ground destroys it. If it's offensive, I think like a regular Earthquake destroys it and it doesn't outspeed us unless he is Scarfed. This most likely is going to be my lead because it's going to be able to match up really well against just about everything he wants to lead with most likely. And then I can get on my rocks turn 1 and Earthquake into a Z Earthquake actually to a KO's Clefable as long as I don't get like two absolutely min rolls, which is amazing because if it is unaware after rocks, it's a guarantee to a KO. If it is just a Magikarp, then as long as I don't get two absolute min rolls, we'll be straight. And then that's where Swords Dance kind of comes in handy because if I can SD on something at +2, there's really no switch in he has for this at +2. Unless he predicts me to go for Earthquake and he makes a hard switch into Yveltal and it turns out to be Scarfed, then there's no other way that he should be able to switch into Garchomp comfortably at +2. And once Yveltal is gone, because I don't expect Mega Latios, a Z ground at +2 basically just gets me a free KO. So yeah, that's why we're rocking max attack to do as much damage as possible. The main idea behind our core is to help our main setup sweeper hopefully come in and win. And in order for me to do that, all I really need to do is get rid of Roserade and potentially the Metagross. So it's going to kind of be my game plan to hopefully get rid of those two, and then our Wincon can come in and set up to victory. So our next team member is going to be what originally was the final team member, but I want to save our setup sweeper for the last mon here, and that is going to be Ferrothorn. We're rocking a very interesting set. I literally sat down for like an hour, I want to say, honestly, and I could not find out what to run on this final slot on my team because I realized Suicune is such a giant nuisance, man. Suicune is so damn annoying if it just gets to set up for free. So I felt like I absolutely needed Ferrothorn, and unfortunately, because after being burned, a Seed Bomb is not able to break Suicune's substitute, I needed to find some way to try and mitigate the burn, and I realized, hey, Ferrothorn gets Swords Dance. That's actually really helpful because if he's not Hidden Power Fire Suicune, then even if I get burned, I can just SD on Suicune and still be able to pressure it and ensure that it's never behind a substitute, or that it's weakened enough to where I can then revenge kill it with something else. Not to mention that I can also spike up on Suicune with this Ferrothorn set, again, if he's not running Hidden Power Fire. I don't know if he would run Hidden Power Fire on Suicune, honestly. He has so many Pokemon on his team that could run fire coverage in general. Heat Wave on Yveltal, Flamethrower, Fire Blast on Fable, Fire Move on Infernape, HP Fire Technician boosted on Roserade. Like, I want to have Occaberry, I really do, but I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it on here. And I guess if he's not like Life Orb Fire Blast, then I can always live a hit from the Porygon 2 and the Clefable and at least spike up on them, because if I just get up one spike with Stealth Rocks up, that is going to make things so much easier for me in this battle. Even though I am most likely going to need to rely on this for Suicune, I don't mind sending this out early and trying to get up layer spikes immediately, because again, all that chip damage, all the residual damage and stuff is going to be very, very handy for us, I think, honestly. So Gyro Ball still does a really good amount of damage to Infernape, actually. Unless he's like bulky Infernape, which I really don't expect, then Gyro Ball does about 40% min, if I'm not mistaken. So that's actually pretty crazy. And then, of course, C-Bomb is for the Suicune. So yeah, Spike's SD leftovers, a very interesting set. I don't think he'll see SD coming. So that's why I don't think he would have something like Hidden Power Fire on Suicune, because he's probably going to rely on burning me, and then that way he'll be able to beat me 1v1 potentially. So that's kind of my thought process, and that's what I'm hoping that Randy is going to decide to bring. But Randy's one of those players where I'm more worried about his prep than I am playing him. So that's what I need to mainly focus on first, is finding out what his prep is, and then I need to figure out where to go from there. So we are just running a mixed defensive spread. We didn't really need to run max Spadef on this, so with our Fizdef here, we can try and maybe take physical hits from Zydog, I guess maybe Metagross. Also helps us take Earthquakes from Hippowdon, and if Hippowdon doesn't have Fire Fang, then I can get up Spikes and SD on it, and then I'm smacking things at +2 with Ferrothorn, which would be pretty awesome. So our next team member is going to be Cresselia here. I felt like I was basically forced to bring Cresselia to this game, mainly because of Zydog. Also, with this EV spread, we are able to always, like 76% of the time, always take, actually it might be more, 80 or 75% of the time, always take 2 Choice Banded Flare Blitzes from Infernape after Stealth Rocks. Now, yes, I know that I have a bold nature as opposed to a calm nature, but if I were to go calm nature with no EVs, then the minimum I hit with my EVs, I guess, quote-unquote optimized, is only 162 defense, and that means the Infernape then has about a 60% chance, I believe, to 2A KO me. So by going bold nature, 76 defense, I guarantee he only has about a 20-25% chance to ever 2A KO me with Flare Blitz. And the more residual damage Infernape is taking, the more it's wearing itself down, and the easier it is going to be for me to revenge kill it. The Spadef is just there so we can try and take hits from Roserade, Latios, Jolteon. I think we can maybe take a Dark Pulse from Yveltal, depending on his set. And then Toxic is really handy for things like Porygon 2, Suicune, even the Hippowdon. I thought about maybe going Ice Beam, but Moonblast does slightly more damage to Yveltal. Not to mention that if I do get the -1 special attack drop on Yveltal, then that's going to be absolutely phenomenal for my team to be able to switch in and hopefully try to take a hit a little bit better. Then we are rocking a whole lot of speed, because the way I saw this matchup, I don't really think he needs to run too much speed on his Suicune. So he'll probably just want to invest it in his defenses and his special attack most likely, while ensuring or knowing that he can still outspeed a majority of my team, and he can't outspeed things that are faster than it, obviously. So the only real thing he would need to creep for is, like, if he was worried about, I guess maybe Comfy. I don't know, he could run like over 120 speed to try and speed creep something like Comfy, but I don't think he would be too worried about Comfy. Although, I don't know, like, he has Roserade, Porygon 2 also can deal with it accordingly. And then I guess something like Underworkable Fable could be an answer for Comfy as well. But my hope is that he's not running a super fast Suicune, so then that way my speed creep will be able to surprise him, and then I can Toxic him. So once Suicune is Toxic, or once its leftovers are gone, it becomes way less of a problem in this battle. So yeah, Psyshock, Moonblast hit everything, Toxic for his fat mons, and then Moonlight for recovery. I know that Moonlight plus Hippowdon is going to be a little bit odd, but I don't know if he would really want to bring Sandstream on Hippowdon, because then if he has Unaware Clef, why would he want to bring Sandstream on Hippowdon? Because then Clefable's taking Hazard's damage, and it's taking Sandstorm damage. And then Porygon 2 doesn't have recovery. If you nullify the leftovers on Suicune, that's really bad, I think. And then Infernape getting chipped down as well is really good for me, because he's going to need to realize that the Sandstorm plus Hazards are going to put him in range of Shadow Sneak from Mars Shadow, and then Yveltal Stealth Rocks plus Sandstream damage is going to be really, really good for us. So, yeah, I don't expect Sandstream on Hippowdon on this match. So, looking at our final mon here and our main win condition, as well as our kind of best answer for Yveltal, that is going to be Comfy. So, this time around, I went with a much more fat Comfy because I want this to be able to pivot into Yveltal. If I know that it's not specs, then we're going to be able to switch in and take hits relatively easily. His only answers for Comfy are Roserade and the Metagross. I guess Porygon too, but we can deal with Porygon 2 with the rest of our team, I think, so I don't really count Porygon 2. Plus, if we boost up enough, eventually we'll be able to beat it, and then we can taunt it and stop it from recovering anyways. So once Roserade is gone, or once it's weakened enough by my hazards, and once Metagross is weakened enough by my hazards or gone, then Comfy should, in theory, be able to come in. If I can Calm Mind twice, I think the match is basically over at that point. There should be no way he stops me once I get 2 Calm Minds late game, and I'm going to try and conceal Calm Mind and hopefully have him think that I don't have it, because that way it'll be able to catch him off guard. Although it could come in handy to try and deal with Yveltal a little bit easier, because obviously we're not running much attack investment, so Draining Kiss probably won't be doing too much to Yveltal, so I would need to Calm Mind against it in order to eventually try and beat it 1v1. I guess if it really comes down to it, I can try and stall out Yveltal's Oblivion Wings. I think it's only like 16 PP, so between Draining Kiss and Synthesis and eventually being able to Calm Mind up, I should be able to stall out all of those Oblivion Wings and not really be too concerned. So we are running a lot of speed on this because I'm hoping that he doesn't come anywhere near this speed tier with something like Suicune. And then if he's not a, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, 2 outspeed Roserade. Actually, it is nice to outspeed Roserade if I know he's not offensive, because then I can Calm Mind beforehand and then go from there. So yeah, this is our main win condition. This is also a really good pivot in this match, and it's able to hopefully try and deal with Yveltal. So yeah, guys, that is going to be our squad. Gonna play Randy here in a few minutes. Hopefully we can win the championship. If we don't, then I'm gonna be happy for my boy Randy. And either way, the match will be going up tomorrow. Leave a like, leave a comment letting me know if you think we can win, and I will see you all tomorrow. Later, everybody.